It is signing day, Greg Pickel.
Yes, it is.
And James Franklin just met with the media here on a gorgeous Wednesday up here in State College. Here's my first question for you. How much better is Penn State's second recruiting class under Franklin than the first one?
You know, I think when you look at it, there's a different definition to better than maybe you'd usually take. I think this class has more balance than the last one. I think they were forced to, take some guys that maybe they wouldn't have taken if they had a full year to recruit, and they were also kind of stuck with taking guys that they had prior relationships to that, again, maybe they wouldn't have taken had they had a full cycle to recruit. And we kind of saw that in this cycle. You know, this was a class that Penn State worked for a full year on plus, and they were able to find a lot of different guys from a lot of different places around the country. Obviously, there's a lot of Pennsylvania flavor in this class, but more often than not, you see them getting their top pick in this class or their plan A guy in this class. And when you do that more often than not, you're eventually going to win somewhere down the road. And I think that if you're going to look for a reason for this class being better, it's just there's more top pick guys in this class for Penn State.
And also, I think it's pretty clear because of the way he started his press conference, James. It's really a point of pride to him. A couple of the first things he said was, 7 of the top 10 Pennsylvania kids they were able to get. I think 11 overall Pennsylvania kids, Pennsylvania ties, are in this class. 2 big numbers. It's clear that it matters to him. He did make the dominate the state remark last year early, but just kind of your thoughts on him making that such a priority.
Yeah, I think they had to. I mean, when you look around the state, there's a lot of good quality talent here. Maybe not as much as there were, 10 or 15 years ago, or maybe even 5 or 10 years ago. That varies by class year by year, but you have to always get the best guys in your state. And even if you don't get every one of them, even if you don't get the top guy, depending on this service or that service, you have to get most of the top guys in the state. And I think that, when you're in a football-rich state like Pennsylvania, it has to be a priority. If you're in Indiana, maybe not so much. If you're in Montana, maybe not so much. But if you're in Pennsylvania, you better find the guys that are top of the line. And Penn State's done that in this class, and I think they have to keep doing it in the future.
2 more quick ones real quick. One about 2015, one about 2016. One of the things that jumped out to me is he was talking about Sterling Palmer, the January enrollee, and on the website he's listed at about
the good mix.
290 pounds and 6'8". James Franklin said, just recently he looked at him and he said he's 2 cheeseburgers away from 330.
Right.
The reason I say that is I think the bigger he gets, I think a lot of people assume he might be more football ready. Do you read anything into maybe the weight gain?
Yeah, just for clarity, we mixed the early enrollees. We have Sterling Jenkins and Paris Palmer, and you're talking about Jenkins. I think that when you look at these guys, that both of them have gained plenty of weight in the time that they've been here. I'm not convinced he's at 326.7 or whatever it was James Franklin said. That would be 20 pounds in almost a month, which I guess is possible depending on what you're doing. But it seems like a lot of weight, especially when Penn State released something like 308 today. Or I'm sorry, 290, whether it's 303, whatever it was.
I think he said Paris lost weight.
He did, yeah. He did say that, yeah. So not sure about the weights on these guys, but I think the thing that we know for certain is that by the time they are ready, they are needed to play. Dwight Galt's going to have them going in the right direction. It's only a matter of time.
Last thing about 2016, they're at 4 with the corner from Detroit, and Franklin made a point to say they were 4 of the best prospects in the country. Just how good of a start is Penn State off to? With regard to
there's a lot of good prospects in the country. Obviously that's something he has to say, but they did get, again, they got the guys, 4 guys that they really wanted to top of their list. They've hauled in already, and I think when you do that, again, consistently, you're going to have a winning program more often than not, as long as you can coach, and I think these guys can coach. So what it comes down to is that these 4 guys are obviously one of the top guys in Pennsylvania, Miles Sanders out of Pittsburgh, one of the top guys in Maryland, the end, Shane Simmons out of Maryland. You have a guy like Jake Zembiak, the best quarterback arguably in this junior class in New York. And then you have Lavert Hill, who's probably one of the top 5 or 10 players in Michigan in the Midwest total. So it's a good start for Penn State. Obviously, they have a lot to build on now, and the next couple months will be interesting. I'm sure they'll get a few more.
So it's Paris Palmer and Sterling
Jenkins. Yep.
He's Greg Pickel. I'm Bob Flounders. That's a wrap for signing day 2015 up at Penn State.